Like all of you, I wear many hats. In the work world, I'm a lawyer, an impact investor, and a small business owner. And I'm also a photographer. That's the part I'll focus on. My first job out of law school was at the Children's Law Center. The pay was low, and everyone around me was getting engaged. So I picked up a camera and made photos in Malcolm X Park for side money. Then Groupon came out. I ran a deal, and overnight I pulled in $40,000, about my annual salary. Suddenly, I was an entrepreneur. I recruited my brother and we drove all over the DMV as Blue Lotus Photography. Throughout that year, I questioned whether the side hustle was worth the squeeze. So many bridezillas. Since then, I've had an on again, off again relationship with my camera, but I've come to realize that at my core, I have a deep desire to tell stories through pictures. In my own story, India has been a through line. My parents were born in Delhi and they moved to Minnesota before having me. Growing up in a white Midwestern community, I never felt like I fit in. I left for college as soon as I could. Then 9/11 happened, and being brown in America got even harder. I moved to a rural village in India thinking I'd finally belong. Everyone looked like me. And one of the first things I heard was, "You remind us of John from London." That felt like a punch in the gut. No offense to the Johns or anyone from London. They call me mixed-achar, mixed pickle. Not quite Indian, not quite American. They welcome me nonetheless. I learned I didn't need to retreat into a homogenous community of people like me to belong. I needed to find people who could see me for who I am on the inside. People like Gulabji, an elder who lovingly invited me into her home for a meal. That was 25 years ago. Recently, I took a 6-week sabbatical, my first big break since running drive-through at my father's Burger King when I was 13. I traveled to India, this time for a photography and ethical storytelling workshop. The other students were white women. Suddenly, I was the most Indian person in the room. I dusted off my Hindi and made deep connections, including with Prithvi. Over several days, Prithvi shared the challenges of being gay in Rajasthan and the joy of finding a community that supports him being his full self, Langa and all. Now I'm back to work, using finance and law to shift the flow of capital and the balance of power. And that work will be even harder these next 4 years. But I'm not putting down my camera anytime soon. I am recommitting to making and sharing photos that hopefully can help us see that while we may be different, we all deserve love, joy, and justice.